Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 different high income ETFs that might not necessarily be talked about as much, but every single one of these ETFs, at least ever since inception, have offered very consistent amount of payouts every single week or every single month. Now, why is it important to look into ETFs or even stocks for that matter that might pay a consistent amount of income generation? Well, to some investors, it might not be all that important, but to investors like myself that are actually planning out to build a portfolio as of right now, which I'm doing, to then later on use for my expenses, pay for all my bills, pay for all my living expenses, my vacations, etc., building a portion of your portfolio at least with different names that do offer consistent income is going to be very, very key. Because this way you can sort of plan out where income is going to be heading on a monthly or weekly basis. And although anything can change in the future, we're going to be looking at 5 ETFs that at least back tested all the way back to inception date have offered very consistent payouts. And like I said, these ETFs are not necessarily talked about as much as some of the other ETFs that you normally see on YouTube. So if you want to see which ones I'm talking about, definitely stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has already helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker, the one I use all the time on my videos, has also helped so many investors stay organized and has actually helped them see their dividend income grow. Well, today I have something even better for you guys. When you click the first link down below in my description and you grab my A to Z dividend investing ebook, today you're not only going to get the ebook, but you're also going to be getting the custom dividend tracker, which you can use to track your own dividend income ongoingly, get direct access to my personal email where you guys can email me any questions regarding dividend investing. You're also going to receive a link to view all of my holdings inside my 7-figure dividend portfolio and see all the positions I add and take away ongoingly. And you're going to get for absolutely free my brand new high yield dividend investing ebook where I show you the power of maximizing some of these high yielding ETFs and teach you everything there is to know about that also. This is going to be your one shot to grab everything inside of one single bundle, but you got to move quick because I'm not going to offer this for long. Now with all that, let's get back into the video. The first ETF is going to be SPYT, the Defiance S&P 500 target ETF. This ETF has a distribution rate of around 20.88%, and this ETF targets an annual income amount of 20% in the S&P 500 using options paid out monthly. Now, this ETF is by no means my favorite income ETF across the entire market, but as I've held on to this one for a very long time now and actually recently bought some more of it, this ETF has done one thing very, very well, and that's pay consistent amounts more or less every single month. Now it says strategy overview. SPYT is an actively managed exchange traded fund or ETF dedicated to generating current income. Our strategy revolves around holding shares of this ETF to track the S&P 500's performance and engaging in selling of daily credit call spreads on the index. Now looking at this ETF's distributions, like I said, at least since inception, it's been pretty consistent. 32 cents per share per month, 32. There's been some months where it's 30, 28, 29. And then some months where it's a little bit higher at around 33 or 34 cents per share per month. Now, just because over the last year or so, this ETF has paid around 30 cents, 31 cents per share per month, doesn't mean that it's going to for sure do so in the future. But again, as an investor just holding onto shares of SPYT, this ETF obviously has a target amount that it's trying to reach on a monthly basis, and it's been pretty good about doing so as of so far. The next ETF that's paid out a pretty consistent amount of around 28% average distribution rate is BTCI, the NEOS Bitcoin High Income ETF. This ETF seeks to distribute monthly income generated from writing call options on Bitcoin future ETFs. It's actively managed and of course offers Bitcoin high income exposure. Now looking at the historical distributions for BTCI, like I said, depending on where BTCI is trading, if it's trading a lot higher or lower, it's always right around that 26 to 28% distribution rate range. Sometimes $130 per share per month, sometimes $150 per share per month, but on average I would say around $1.40 per share per month over the past several months. Another ETF that's been paying a very consistent amount for a while now is SVOL, the Simplified Volatility Premium ETF. This ETF seeks to provide investment results before fees and expenses that correspond to approximately 1/5 to 3/10 of the inverse of the performance of the VIX short-term futures index, while also seeking to mitigate extreme volatility. Now, SVOL does short the VIX, but also holds on to different bond ETFs that are actually brought to us by Simplify. Now, again, this ETF is by no means the best ETF across the market. Like I said, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but this ETF does come to mind when I'm thinking about an ETF that pays a very consistent 30 cents per share per month, 30. A little while back, it dropped down to 27 cents per share per month, but ever since then, they've been right back to that 30 cents per share per month on average. Another one that's been paying a very consistent amount, at least up until this point, is MAGY, the MAGY 7 covered call ETF. This ETF targets weekly income from the top 7 tech stocks from Roundtill's Magnificent 7 covered call ETF MAGY. They utilize a covered call strategy with focused exposure to the MAGY 7 tech stocks. This ETF has become one of my favorites, especially if we're talking about weekly income, and has paid a very consistent amount over the past several weeks. 37 cents per share per week, 37, 36, 37. Around 37 cents per share per week is what this ETF has been achieving. And again, that averages out to around a 35% distribution rate, which is not bad whatsoever. The last ETF that also is offering a very consistent amount as far as distributions on a monthly basis, one of my favorites, the NEOS Nasdaq 100 high income ETF. This ETF offers Nasdaq 100 exposure, but through a high income strategy, of course, and offers around a 14-15% distribution rate. Now, this ETF has been trading for quite some time, and it does offer around 60 cents, maybe 61, 62 cents per share per month, which again equals at around 14.5% distribution rate. This ETF, just like all the others, isn't necessarily for certain going to pay out 60 cents, 61 cents per share per month, but that's what investors have seen up until this point. So now that I share with you guys several of my favorite high income ETFs that do offer rather consistent income generation on a monthly or of course on a weekly basis, I lastly, most importantly, have a question for you down below. When it comes to consistent high income, what's your favorite ETFs across the market that offer that, or at least have offered that up until this point? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.